We could say this in indeed 10 seconds and we're done. Here we go. Who is the smallest nation in the world today? And there we would have an answer to which the Bible points as being the little horn power. It would be that simple. Since the book of Daniel has been unsealed, it is easy to identify the little horn of Daniel 7, and by this we identify who is responsible for the blood of prophets and of saints and all that was slain upon the earth, who is behind the wars and turmoil in the world today. Before the little book was unsealed, that is before 1844, every leading Protestant reformer, whether it was Luther, Huss, Wycliffe, and the list goes on, pointed to Rome as the Antichrist. Understand, I use Rome in the broad sense to really point to a specific power. Just leading up to 1844, having the transition from the Dark Ages, which ended in 1798, there was an intense study of the Scriptures and a platform laid by those that keep the commandments of God. And it is a platform that I have built upon, and many others do today. Signatory to that platform is the covenant relationship with God through keeping the fourth commandment. They keep all the commandments of God. That platform allows us to understand end-time events with accuracy, and who is the little horn of prophecy, which is also named the abomination of desolation, or the whore of Babylon, or the king of the north. And why so named? Why is there this intense scrutiny of this power? Because it has distorted the commandments of God, and they are the prerequisite to eternal life. And it has distorted God's teaching, infusing it with men's. Why is there such an intense focus? Again, we'll look at this in another way, because we've answered that in part. It's a simple overview of prophecy that leads us across world history. It is this power that endures and spans time, an incredible amount of time, while other empires crumble. But even more significantly, by this power, the Antichrist comes, and it receives absolute power, not as in the past, but for a moment of time in the future, in rebuilding of Babylon, in world confederation, in which it is the architect. The little horn is a power that creates war upon the earth and enslaves men, for by thy sorceries were all nations deceived. It causes an image to the beast, and those that refuse to worship the image and the beast, they shall be killed. So we're looking into the near future. It's being set up at this time. The image is seen on the plains of Dura. It is an image of a false Christ. So we can look at that image to the beast in different ways to get the full meaning. Daniel 7:25 says, he shall speak great things against the Most High. He shall be a persecuting power. He shall think to change times and laws. In our time, this power is working through fallen Protestant churches and powers, secret societies, trade unions, and it is to disguise its powerful influence. It's not going to be seen as it was in the past. It arises in a different way, but it is the same power behind the scenes. It is identified by the same prophetic time 7 times, and this time is given in 3 different ways. It begins by the decree of Justinian I, the emperor, until it is abolished by Law 8 of Napoleon, and then the deadly wound is healed, rises again when Mussolini gives it back its territory and state and its own autonomy in 1929. And so it continues to rise and have its influence in our time heavily. The time period is double-edged. It also identifies the true Church of God in the wilderness. But the 7 prophetic times, all the same time period, 1260 years, points to the 8th. Remember, the book was sealed. Now it's been opened in our time, in our day, so that we can see what's happening. Of course, on the 8th period of time, there is a short period of world domination, the confederacy that will occur before the second coming of Christ. This is during the time the Antichrist appears. So it develops from the pagan world, from Rome, and now it is coming to dominate the world scene, the guardians of inclusive capitalism, taking the world scene as predicted. The deadly wound was healed, as said in Revelation 13, verse 3. It's also mentioned several times in Revelation 17, this deadly wound being healed, and all the world wondered after the beast.